Shalom, shalom and good morning everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you today and discuss the matter of the ambiguous of a kiss. I would like to read with you two sources today and discuss their essence as well. One source is from Genesis 4. I hope you have a good sound coming from us. Please let us know if you have a good sound coming from us. Good morning everyone. One source is Genesis chapter 4 verse 8, but to have the context we shall read a few verses together. Another one is Genesis chapter 33 verse 4, the moment of the meeting between Esau and Jacob after 20 years of separation. We shall see what is the connection between those two sources, what the Malbim has to say about Genesis 4, or the relation between Cain to Hevel, and how in a way the relation between Cain to Hevel is reflected 20 generations after in the relation between Jacob and Esau. Good morning everyone, and let's go. Ruth, I see you here. If you want, you can enter the voice classroom or our channel here in Voice on YouTube, and we can hear your voice and greet you for good morning as we greet everybody else here. So we see here the text, and we shall read the text together. Genesis chapter 4 verses 4 to 8. And Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof, and the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. Verse 5. But unto Cain and to his offering he did not respect, and Cain was very worse, and his countenance fell. And the Lord says unto Cain, Why art thou worse, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou dost well, shall it not be lifted up? And if thou doesn't not well, sin cottage at the door, and unto thee it is its desire, but thou mayest rule over it. Verse 8. And Cain spoke unto Abel his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. Now please pay attention to verse 8. And Cain spoke unto Abel his brother. If the verse says, and Cain spoke unto Abel his brother, we would expect that we shall see something like this, open quote, and there's the words that Cain, so to speak, spoke to his brother Abel, but this is missing. What Cain spoke to Abel is lacking in this verse. And immediately we have, and it came to pass when they were in the field. So let's see how the Malbim reads this verse. We have here a translation to English. Here we shall read it. And Cain said, this is how the verse starts. Cain did not understand the words of God. He did not comprehend that the external human composed of flesh, sinew, and bones, is not the true human, but rather a beast in a form of a human. The true human is the inner intellectual being hidden within him and guiding him. He thought that the body and its faculties constitute the entirety of a person. And when he heard from the mouth of God that sin was lying at his door, longing to seduce him, and that he had the power to rule over it, he did not know upon whom these words were directed and who this sin was, since there were only he and his brother Abel in the world. I'm rephrasing again the intonation. Let's start, because I have to stop here and when he heard from the mouth of God that sin was lying at his door, longing to seduce him, and that he had the power to rule over it, he did not know upon whom these words were directed and who this sin was, since there were only he and his brother Abel in the world. Again, since there were only he and his brother Abel in the world, he thought that the reference was to his brother Abel, that he desired to bring him down to the depths, and that he had the ability to rule over him. That is why it is stated, and Cain said to Abel, his brother, for he said in his heart that God's intention was directed at his brother Abel, meaning the speech about the sin which is lying at the door is that Cain heard in his mind. He did not relate this conversation as God speaking to him. He thought that God speaks in his mind about his brother Abel. Therefore he arose and killed him, in accordance with what God said to him, that he would rule over him. So far, this is what Malbim says about Cain. He says two major ideas. First of all, that Cain thinks that Malbim says that Cain thinks that human means human body and its faculties and not intelligence. This is the first mistake that Cain has in his perception. A second mistake that Cain has, that he relates the inner voice that he hears in his mind as referred to his brother Abel and not to himself. So we have here two mistakes that Malbim track in relation or related to Cain. Now, a part of the Zohar Genesis 2, I will write it here. Zohar Genesis 2. Hello, hello. Zohar Genesis 2, letter 341 says the following. Because the Bible does not tell us here in verse 8 how Cain killed Abel. The Bible just said, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. Slew him in English, in Hebrew vayahargehu, and he killed him. But there is no detailed information how Cain killed Abel. But in Zohar, Genesis 2, letters 3, 4, 1, there is a distinction. In a way, there is a reference to how Cain killed Abel. He bite him with his teeth. Cain used his teeth to bite Abel in his neck, and Abel died. This is what the Zohar says. And according to the Zohar, Cain used the same technique that the ancient serpent used in the story of the Garden of Eden. Now, a few chapters after, in Genesis 33, the biblical story progresses, and we meet after, let's say, yes, several generations, Esau and Jacob. Jacob is coming from the house of his father Laban. He did not see his brother for 20 years, and he is afraid from this meeting. The Bible describes how, in a way, Jacob prepares to this moment, because the last time he saw his brother, Esau wanted to kill him for taking from him the blessing and the firstborn right. And here we see in verse 4 the following words: and Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck. Please pay attention. And fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Now we shall move to the Hebrew Bible and see how Ezra, the author Ezra, of which we mentioned in the previous week, read the word and he kissed him. We shall read the Hebrew and see how Ezra marked the te'amim, the musical notes, and in a way hint at us what happened in this moment of the meeting and kissing. Vayaratz Esav likrato, and Esav ran forward him, and he embraced him or hugged him, and he fell on his neck, and he kissed him, and they cried. Vayishakehu, and he kissed him. Please count with me how many dots we can find upon the word and he kissed him. Let's count together. Maybe you can write your conclusion here in the chat box. Yes. And he kissed him. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 dots. Ezra, the writer, the scribe, mark this word. The sages are saying that Ezra marked this word and he kissed him in English with 7 upper dots to say something, that the kissing was not a kissing, but it was biting. He tried to kill him. How many times? According to the numbers of the dot. He bite him 7 times in his neck, trying to kill him. Now let's look into the Hebrew 2 words of kiss. Here, yes, let's see this beautiful painting before we write the words. On the left, here on the left, this is Esau. On the right, this is Jacob. Please pay attention that Jacob has something on his leg. It's not really clear if this is a sandal or plaster or a shoe. It's not really clear. Yes. And in a way, Esau holds his palm on the shoulder or close to the neck of Jacob, and he approaches, so to speak, to kiss him. Now, let's see what is the relation between kiss and bite in Hebrew. The word kiss is, or the verb to kiss in Hebrew is nashak. Let's change here the ink that it will be easier to track the writing. 1 second, that's 2. So the word for kiss, nashak, kiss, nashak, the verb. The value of nashak, 50, 300, 100, and we have for 50, without the 0, this is 45, the value of Adam. So when usually people kiss, and this is the ambiguous nature of a kiss that we discuss in this session, when people kiss in order to relate, to love, the kiss comes from the lip in English, in Hebrew, safa, which is also mean in Hebrew. Safa is not just a lip, but also a language. So, one person show affection to another person, the kiss is being done with the lip, because the lip is a soft part. But the sages are telling us that Esau tried to bite Jacob. How do we say bite? Nashach. Nashach. Bite. The value of nashach is 370. Now, how people usually bite? People usually bite with their teeth. The teeth can separate something, like when a person bites an apple, his teeth are touching the apple and he bites it through, and he separates one bite from the apple. This is nashach, in a way, separation. Kiss with the lip is to connection, to show affection. Also, lip is a language. So kiss is not just a physical kiss, but also when we speak to each other via language, there is a sense of relation, there is a sense of love, there is a sense of caring. But also there is a possibility to use words or to use language in a way that the words are biting. This is a very interesting relation between kissing and biting. The value is very interesting, because the value of a kiss is 450 nashak. The value of bite Nashach is 370. And the gap between those two words is 80. 80 is the value of the letter P. Now P is not just a Hebrew letter. P in Hebrew means mouse. In other words, our mouse can do two things, either to connect or disconnect. This is in a way why Ezra, the author, could see the potential here in this verse, Vayishakehu, and he saw in the word the possibility that the author, Moses of the Bible, put into this word, that in a way Esau tried to kill Jacob. Here it is, 7 dots. He was trying to take his life by biting his neck. Like the serpent behave. He's biting and puts his poison, injecting his poison through his biting. Now, would you like to ask certain questions at the moment? Is there something on your mind that you would like to ask, to share, to reflect? Is there something? I shall be happy to hear from you. This question came to us through a listener, a student, a friend that was asking if there is a relation between those three words, nefesh, the bodily part of the soul. Is there a relation between nefesh, let's write here, Venus, shin 2 dots. Yes, hello, good morning. So she was asking if there is a relation between nefesh. 1 second, let's bring up the ink here. Nefesh. The bodily part of the soul. Is there a connection between those three words? Nefesh, Nachash, serpent, and Nashak, kissed, and I added Nashach, bite. And as we can see here, through moving between the verses, the picture and the semantic field, that indeed there is a connection between all of those words. All of them are belonging to one semantic field. Nefesh is the lowest, let's say, it is the bodily, I would say this is the most lower communication in which the soul is connected to the human body. This is nefesh. Its value, or it is marked by the digits 3, 8, and 5, which is also, this is the same numeral value of Safa, language or lip. And then we have serpent. Please pay attention how all of those words are connected. And then we have nashak, which is a kiss. And we have here 450, Adam. Human, which is 45, because if we take the 0, we have still 45, and nashach. Nashach, bite, because the kiss can be either positive or negative. Yes, Venus, Sanskrit snake is naga. Yes. Yes, there is a relation, interestingly, between naga and noga. Noga is Venus. This is very, very interesting. Very interesting, because naga in Hebrew means to touch. Very interesting. Hello, hello, Venus. Good morning. Do you have any questions that you would like to ask? Venus, friends. Something on your mind, Venus, even not related to this topic. I shall be happy to hear you. I'm glad to see that we see here new friends which are coming to listen. I'm very glad. Please just pay attention to another detail that I noticed while speaking to you at the moment, that Nashach has the 370. Yes. Shin and the 2 dots, you mean Shin as SH and Shin as S, that we can read Shin as 2 letters? This is what you mean, Shin and 2 dots? Let's see. If this is what you mean, just say yes, that I see that I understand your intention. There is a way to read the letter Shin with a right dot as SH in English, which is whistling Shin. Yes, SH, Shin, like Shir Shirim, Song of Songs. And there is another way to read the Shin with a left dot. Shin teeth. Shin teeth. You mean Shinaim? You mean Shin for Shinaim? I do hope that we understand each other. So let's start. There is a way to write the Shin SH in Hebrew when the dot is upright to the letter, and there is another way in which the Shin can sound as S here when the dot comes at the left arm of the Shin, and in this case we shall read it like S in English, like this. Just to connect to what I said before, the value of byte is 370. Without the 0, it is 37, like the name Abel, Hevel. So I hope it was a beautiful session to you and we learned a few things together. I would like to wish you a wonderful week ahead. And if you have any question, Yes, 7 bytes, 7 dots, 2 are over the sheen. Yes, yes, it is true. It is true. It is true. So I would like to wish everyone a beautiful week. And if you have questions, write to us. Where to write to us? At Hebrew. This is our address. Hebrew at learnoutlive.com, and we shall be happy to answer your questions, or sometimes to reframe them and to bring them as a topic to our classes. Thank you so much, and wonderful week ahead. Shalom, shalom.